What's going on, guys? Legendary here. Happy New Year. Happy whatever is going on. And yeah, man. So we're gonna watch this little IGN games coming in 2024. So yeah, let's check that out. And yeah, man, do you do what y'all do? Let me know how your New Year's was. Mine was pretty good. Ate like a crazy man, like I am. And let's get to it, shall we?
2023 was heralded as the biggest year in the history of video games to ever video game a game of videos.
Yeah, it was
as that
pretty good.
incoherent
Pretty
word
good year
salad
for
might
gaming.
suggest, it was a busy year
play
for
a lot
us
of
here
those
at
games,
IGN. That said,
pretty good
2024 is
seeing it.
shaping up to have quite a few big releases as well to keep you from finishing your 2023 backlog that you
Also,
piled.
yeah, we are actually coming into like a crazy new space. It's like pretty soon with like a lot of scammy looking games. Like, because a lot of games are going to be made quicker in some instances with like Unreal stuff and everything else around. Like we had like literally like right after the Game Awards, we had the day before, which was like bad game, and then Once Human, and now it's like a good game. It's like two different things, but almost like two same games, one different and one's actually real.
Because you were so busy tormenting Koroks and trying to get to second base with Shadowheart.
That's not the negative
Anyway,
reviews.
here are some of
Everyone's not
2024's
bad
biggest
reviews.
upcoming games. Check it out. Now, before we get into it, just a quick disclaimer that video game release dates are about as reliable as weather forecasts at this
Yeah, they
point,
always
so it's
change.
possible, if not likely, that a few of these get delayed or otherwise shuffled around. Also, this is by no
That's the
means
game
a
I'm looking forward to.
comprehensive list of everything coming out in 2024. It is just a handful of games that we thought you might
So we
like
can play some good ass Tekken. You know what I'm saying?
to have on your radar. If something that you're excited about personally
Play the
didn't make
demo.
the cut, I swear
Wow.
it is nothing personal or
They updated
political
my boy
or
Jim
weird
like
or
crazy.
sinister or Machiavellian. We can only talk about so many games before our video editor dies of exhaustion.
Oh my god, I almost died. I almost died. That was so scary. Thank you.
It's okay. It's all right. It's all right.
If you want a more thorough roundup, every month we put up a
Yeah,
new video
that's
detailing
going.
that month's
That's fine.
upcoming releases, so keep an eye out for that every month, around the time rent's due, maybe. That January one is already up, so go watch that once you're done with this.
Yeah.
If you're sitting around checking your enchanted hourglass, waiting on that Prince of
yes.
Persia Sands of Time remake, good news, Ubisoft whipped up a nice 2.5D Prince of Persia
Mm-hmm.
Metroidvania to hold you over. Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, goes back to the series'
really
side-scrolling
not bad,
platformer
but I
roots,
prefer him
with some
with long
modern
hair.
twists. That's out for basically everything January
Boy,
18th.
long hair that's out crazy.
On January
out.
26th, hot on the heels of last year's new
Yeah.
installments of beloved fighting games Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, Tekken
Victor
enters
looks
the fray with
crazy
its
good,
8th
though.
entry, which is putting those new-gen consoles through their paces and really showing what Unreal 5 can do. That's on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. That same day on new gen and PC as well as last gen is Like a
like,
Dragon
that's another
Infinite
good
Wealth.
one.
That's a really expensive way of saying
February.
Yakuza 8, though the series has officially rebranded to its Japanese name, kind of like how Dragon Quest was Dragon Warrior in the West for decades, and then they finally made the switch to Dragon Quest worldwide. Anyway, notable Dragon Quest player Ichiban Kasuga returns for another wacky hero's journey, and this time he's teaming up with semi-pro pocket circuit racer and UFO catcher enthusiast Kazuma Kiryu, who you may recognize from like the last
Kazuma
9
Kiryu,
Yakuza games.
Kazuya.
Or maybe not. He has a new haircut. Who knows? He's so mysterious. As you probably heard by now, the Arkham architects over at Rocksteady are ditching
my
the Dark
God.
Knight and trying their hand at a co-op looter shooter starring Task Force X, better known
Man, when I first saw this, I was blown away that how much they changed the look and feel of the supposedly Arkham style games, because it's like we went from dark, detailed, and gritty to light and not so detailed.
as the Suicide Squad. The squad's mission, kill the Justice League. The name of this game, The Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. You probably could have put that one together. The release date, February 2nd for new gen and PC. That same day, if you missed Persona 3 when it was on PS2 and then on PSP and then later playable in PS Vita, well, first of all, shame on you, but second of all, good news because it's been fully rebuilt as a new modern console RPG and it's coming to
good.
everything but Switch, which is sad because the Switch is the closest thing
still-
we have
it's
anymore
still
to a
an old console
PSP
still.
or a Vita. Who knows? Maybe they'll port it. The original Helldivers was a tough-as-nails top-down co-op twin-stick shooter about zapping aliens on other planets, and the sequel takes the core gameplay loop but reinvents it from a third-person perspective, adding quite a bit of scale and complexity to the missions and wearing its Starship Troopers influences even more proudly on its sleeve. Would you like to know more? Well, it hits PS5 and PC on February 8th, so there you go. One game that has been in the works for quite a while is Skull and Bones. What began as a spin-off of Assassin's Creed Black Flag's naval combat has been delayed something like 7 times, so pardon me if I'm skeptical that this game will actually come out on February 16th, but that's what they're saying this time, and that's on New Gen, PC, and Amazon Luna. On the 29th, Cloud, Tifa, Barrett, and company are back, joined by quite a few familiar faces, and now they're turning this a massive, sprawling, open-world, and infinitely more detailed recreation of the original FF7's overworld map, which you can travel around by chocobo or on a Segway if you so desire. FF7 Remake was an incredibly ambitious start, and it sounds like Rebirth is going to be a substantially larger undertaking in all the best ways.
I think it's going to be like
the long overdue follow-up to a beloved deep space strategy game that was released over 20 years ago. On March 8th, this franchise emerges from cryosleep on PC, so here's hoping it can adapt to life in the 2020s. On March 20th, one of the great grandpappies of survival horror gets a new installment. At a glance, Alone in the Dark might seem like another remake along the lines of what Dead Space and Resident Evil did recently, but it's being framed as a revival, which is fitting given the Southern Gothic themes. It's telling a whole new story, but longtime fans will likely get some deja vu as it is set in Derceto Manor, where the original 1992 game took place. On March 22nd, Dragon's Dogma 2 drops, the feverishly anticipated sequel to Capcom's criminally underrated open-world action RPG. This has the same kind of extremely vocal fan base that Demon's Souls did before FromSoft dropped Dark Souls, and it blew up.
I felt like they could have went way more detailed and freaking different, in my view. Like, you can, like, instead of being like Dark Souls, not Dark Souls, the first Dragon Dogma look, you could have went like for more crazy, bright, and I'm like, I want to say like almost Monster Hunter, because they did Monster Hunter, right? But you could do completely different, because it's 2 now, and you can do better. you make it 2 have to mean something, got to mean better, Can't go like Final Fantasy 1.4 or some shit.
That's not to say that Dragon's Dogma 2 is the second coming of Dark Souls, but it'll probably click with Elden Ring fans dying for a big, sprawling Western fantasy action RPG with crunchy boss fights. Meanwhile, if you're ready to commit seppuku because Sony and Sucker Punch have been shinobi silent regarding the next Ghost of Tsushima, Rise of the Ronin might hold you over, and this will likely click with antsy Soulsborne fans as well. The PS5 exclusive open-world action RPG comes courtesy of Team Ninja, the studio behind last year's Wolong Fallen Dynasty, the Nioh games, and of course, Ninja Gaiden. Still on March 22nd, and probably considerably less punishing than those last 2 games, there is Princess Peach Showtime. Mario's Mushroom Matriarch takes the spotlight in a long overdue solo.
What? She can dodge. Oh yeah, she can dodge. Right. Right. Oh jeez. Yeah, I had to go back on that one. Look at that.
Mario's Mushroom Matriarch takes the spotlight in a long overdue solo adventure.
Okay.
Her own. This isn't a role-playing game in the conventional sense, but the whole thing is framed as a stage production, and Peach dons different costumes with different abilities to play various roles, if you get what I'm saying. The stages and set pieces will be just that, in a literal theatrical sense, so it'll be nice to see Peach flexing her dramatic range. Here's hoping it's a crowd pleaser. I probably don't need to tell you that is exclusively on Switch, because it's a Nintendo game.
Of course.
Anyway, enough about cute princess stuff. If you're looking for an ass-kicking, mark your calendar for August 20th, because that is when the long-awaited black myth Wukong will make its journey westward, probably to beat you up. Developed by Chinese studio Game Science, this Souls-like pulls from the classic folktale Journey to the West, which was the original inspiration for Dragon Ball, and which was loosely adapted into a video game back in 2010 in Ninja Theory's Enslaved Odyssey to the West. Our Black Myth preview from last year says it's definitely got some Soulsborne DNA, but plays in a way that it's all its own. That's on New Gen and PC. Meanwhile, a few weeks and about 38,000 years later, there's Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2, which drops September 9th. Gears of War's muscle-bound dudes in power armors with chainsaw guns copied Warhammer 40k's homework a little bit, so it was only fair that Warhammer did the same. Back in 2011, the original Space Marine was widely praised as a totally solid Gears-like, set against the utterly bonkers backdrop of
at least they can just take it and do it their way.
Lifetime later, it's getting a sequel, which looks to take full advantage of new gen hardware to render massive swarms of Tyranids for you to brutally eviscerate in the name of the Emperor. Following the same Warhammer 40k naming convention of aggressive word plus type of melee weapon followed by a number, there's also Hellblade 2, Senua's Saga. The follow-up to Ninja Theory's 2017 sleeper hit, Senua's Sacrifice. Senua's Saga looks to be raising the bar in every possible way while maintaining its blend of dark fantasy and psychological horror, heavy emphasis on the psychology. That's on Xbox Series and PC, but we do not have a release date quite yet. Also on Xbox Series and PC with no hard release date is Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl, though that does currently have a release window of sometime in the first quarter of 2024.
Like they graphics, well, the video they're showing, they don't look polished at all.
Considering this game's development was put on hold so members of the Ukrainian team could step away from their desks to defend their country from invading Russian forces, I don't think anyone will fault the studio for the long wait or get mad if the release gets delayed further. It looks like a massively ambitious game, and the original is a modern classic, though maybe not exactly modern anymore. In the time since the last Stalker game's release, the actual Chernobyl exclusion zone has become a tourist destination. From this point forward, the rest of the games in this video do not have a release date or release window at all. It's the Wild West, so to speak. Speaking of which, one of these games is Star Wars Outlaws. In addition to looking like a space western, it's also wild.
What happened to this? Like, they only showed one trailer of it. Well, we'll
took
see.
this long to get a game that could be described as GTA, but with speeder bikes and blasters and Jabba the Hutt. From the looks of things, that's what Outlaws is shaping up to be. Though, to be precise, it's a Ubisoft game, so a more apt comparison might be...
Yeah. I mean, they could do. Ubisoft did do Watch Dogs and stuff, so it could work. Ubisoft, though, you know?
Watch Dogs with Womp Rats. I am definitely not complaining at the prospect of an open-world Star Wars game that focuses on the scum and villainy of a galaxy far, far away. I will, however, complain if Bosk and Dengar and Zuckuss don't show up. Boba Fett's fine. We get enough of him. And Forlom, I could take it or leave it. IG-88, he's all right. But I really want Bosk and Dengar and Zuckuss in there. Put those weird dudes in this game, please. Supergiant Games has been chugging along for over a decade, regularly putting out colorful, deceptively complex games that have consistently pleased critics and fans alike. And Hades was met with such a unanimously positive reception that you really can't blame them for making a second installment, which is supposed to arrive sometime this year.
They never
Persona fans rolling their eyes at the casual newcomers flocking to Persona 3 Reload. I have just the thing, which you probably already know about. Metaphor Refantasio, a cool sounding name for a brand new RPG in a brand new universe from a ton of the people behind the Shin Megami Tensei / Persona series. If you want a JRPG that doesn't go quite as hard in the paint or the fonts, there's always Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door, which remakes the beloved GameCube RPG for Switch, and which should be a nice follow-up to the Super Mario RPG remake that we got way back in 2023. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 is yet another long-awaited sequel that became even more long-awaited
just do a JoJo fucking
attack.
Nah, you gotta go back. Nah, did I just see a... Did he give him an order?
That became even more long-awaited after the decision was
made.
Gave
that man the order. Oh, I gotta go back.
Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines.
He gave him the one. Oh, yes, he did. He gave him the one.
Bloodlines 2 is yet another long-awaited sequel that became even more long-awaited after the decision was made to go back to square one in the hands of a new developer. But the good news is that developer is the Chinese Room, the studio behind the Amnesia games and Dear Esther, so this vampire game might be kind of spooky.
It's the skin of the killer, Bill.
If the phrase Seiken Densetsu means anything to you, you're probably well aware of Visions of Mana, but if you're not, it is the first mainline entry in quite some time in Square Enix's beloved Mana action RPG series. They got its start way back a million years ago as a Final Fantasy spin-off for the original Game Boy. Anyway, it's probably better known as Secret of Mana on the Super Nintendo. Here's the part of the video where I say that I would like to get an HD remake of Secret of Evermore, which was like the weird sort of bastard American cousin of Secret of Mana that was on Super NES. I love that game, one of my favorite games of all time. I'm one of 17 people who feels that way. Thank you for listening. Let's talk about games that are coming out in the future. There's no shortage of big fat fantasy RPGs being cooked up by the fine folks at Xbox Game Studios.
I mean, it's good to do remakes of games and make them look way more up to date and better. They can do that. That's the only thing I would say. Make the game different and update. Same, just like the thing with God of War, you know, from PS2 to now, you know, just same character or whatever, and change them up and make them better and make the gameplay better and fun. Because that's all gamers are looking for, is fun games to play.
Avowed looks like it could make a nice amuse-bouche for
Why she
anybody
don't
who's
do
licking their
that?
chops waiting around for Fable
Game
Horizon
fucking
or
goes trash.
Skyrim 2, Dragonborn Again, aka Elder Scrolls 6. Anyway, Avowed is set in Obsidian's Pillars of Eternity universe, and it looks like a fun first-person high fantasy jaunt, and based on Obsidian's pedigree, it should have some good twists and turns depending on what kind of bad decisions you make, you know, like a proper RPG.
Okay.
This list is not alphabetical, but Zenless Zone Zero has too many Z's in the title to not put it last. That is the next free-to-play action RPG from the Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail team,
yeah.
and this one has a super stylish, quasi-futuristic urban setting that's going to be coming to mobile and PC and probably console at some point. Speaking of which, Genshin is expected to hit Switch at some point in 2024, and there's very good
that's so
possibility
funny
that
that this
Nintendo might just
game
drop a
took-
new console entirely, whether
took
that is a
from-
Super Switch or a Switch U or something
from Zelda.
totally else
Yeah, let's
entirely,
make our own
probably with a better name.
version.
That'll of course
And
have its
there you
own
go.
share of new games at launch
Yeah, it's
and
coming out on the
thereafter.
Switch.
And like I said, there is a ton of other stuff we didn't cover. Elden
DLC?
Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree
Oh, yeah.
DLC is going to be a substantial expansion to an already massive game. There are some rumblings about the next Doom game, possibly a prequel. And then, of course, long-awaited sequels like Metroid Prime 4 and Dragon Age: The Dreadwolf Rises, just to name a few.
I mean, it
But as
should
of recording
make
this in
another
late
Doom.
December 2023, details on all of those are pretty vague, so we can tackle them some other time. On that note, I'm going to shut up so my wonderful video editor, Chris Del Padre, can put the finishing touches on this video, and our wonderful producer, Amanda Medina, can publish it, and we can all shut down our computers for the holidays and go be with our loved ones. I mean, right after I tell you to sound off in the comments with the games that you're most excited about in 2024,
Well, there you go.
especially if I forgot to mention them. Tell us why you're looking forward to them. Explain why or why not. Use complete sentences. Your answer is worth 10% of your final grade. For extra credit, go check out that video on January's big game releases and make
There you go. Yeah, so what games I'm looking for? Black for sure. Black Myth for sure. Warhammer 40 Marines, that's a good one. Checking out. Star Wars Outlaw. We'll see about that one. I feel like that's not coming out. I don't know why. I don't feel like that's coming out for some reason. And then we got Hades 2, which is going to be pretty good, I think, down the line. Hades 2 for sure. I feel like most of these games that's coming out are supposedly in question. Yeah, because you got in question right here. I don't know if that's coming out this year. I feel like it's not. That'd be surprising to see if it comes out. But I feel like if that comes out, it's going to be probably buggy like crazy. And then we have Paper Mario. Yeah, Vampire. Yeah, I think this is going to be pretty. This might be pretty nice to play. I don't know. I feel like some of these games that's going to come out not going to last for some reason. I don't know why. I feel like they might not last. I feel like you just play them one time and it's over. Like, yep, that's a game. Yep, that's good. No, I'm not going to play it no more. Fuck it. Yeah, kind of like this, you know? Man, I just know if they pull a Gotham Knights or make it, I feel like Rocksteady can do it, but I don't know. I just know if it pulls a Gotham Knight and it's worse than that, or but yeah. All right. Anyway, Happy New Year. This is going to be interesting to see what games come out this year and what games to look forward to. Oh yeah, Final Fantasy and Secret, the other one. It's going good. That's going to be another one to look for. So yeah, man, I'm waiting for this game right here. This is just in a few more weeks. This is the weeks for me to play my favorite game or my favorite fighting game series. I was into Street Fighter, but when Tekken came out in the arcades back in the day, man, you know, I was kicking ass, kicking grown folks' ass. But anyway, I'm out.